Hi everyone. Today in this class we are going to discuss about the structure of the atom from class 10th. We have already learned few topics regarding the atoms. We know few things regarding the atoms. For example, we can say what is an atom? Atom is a fundamental particle of the matter. Atom is a fundamental particle of the matter. Atom is the tiniest particle present in the matter. For example, if we take anything, this board or this marker or a wall, everything is made up of tiny particles known as atoms. The board is made up of tiny particles known as atom. The tiniest particle present in this board is atom. The tiniest particle present in this marker is atom. Okay, so atom can be described as the tiniest particle or the fundamental particle of the matter before the discovery of the subatomic particles. Before the discovery of subatomic particles, atom is considered as the tiniest particle. There is no more tiny particles than the atom. But later, to understand the behavior of atoms of different elements, some scientists discovered the subatomic particles. Atom is not the tiniest particle, and there are some more tiny particles present in the atom. Those particles are called as subatomic particles. Subatomic particles. Atom contains subatomic particles. Okay, what are they? Electrons, protons and neutrons. We know electrons, protons and neutrons are present inside the atom. Every atom consists of electron, proton and neutron. Electrons, protons and neutrons. These are the subatomic particles. Electrons are negatively charged particles, whereas protons are positively charged particles. Neutrons with no charge means neutral particles. Okay, atom also contains some particles in it. They are electrons, protons and neutrons. And in the previous classes we have seen some atomic models. What are atomic models? They describe the arrangement of these subatomic particles in the atom. We have seen the J.J. Thomson's plum pudding model. In that, positive charge is distributed in the atom in the form of a pulp. For example, if we consider the watermelon, how the pulp of the watermelon is distributed over it. Similarly, the positive charge protons are distributed all over the atom, and the seeds of the watermelon were embedded in that pulp, in the watermelon. Similarly, the electrons were embedded in the positive charge, like seeds of watermelon were in the pulp. But this J.J. Thomson model has failed to explain, that model had failed to explain stability of the atom. Some points were not satisfied by the J.J. Thomson model. Later, Rutherford model came to existence. After a few years of discovery, Rutherford proposed an atomic model. He also proposed the atomic model in his own way. According to Rutherford, the atom contains positive charge at the center. The atom contains positive charge, protons at the center, and the electrons, protons and neutrons also in the center, and the electrons revolve round the nucleus. This is called as nucleus. This atom contains protons and neutrons at the center. This is called as nucleus. And the electrons revolve round the nucleus in circular orbits. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular orbits, same as the planets revolve around the sun. This model is called as Rutherford's planetary model. He compared his atomic model to the planets of the sun. Okay, so it is called as planetary model. This model also failed to explain the stability of the atom. What happens according to classical physics? Any charged particles, when it revolves continuously in a particular orbit, it loses energy. When it loses energy, it will be attracted by the opposite charge, and finally the electron may fall into the nucleus, and it leads to the collapse of atom. It leads to the destruction of the atom, but it is not happening. Atom is stable. The atoms are stable. The electrons are not falling in the nucleus, but they are revolving in orbits. So Rutherford failed to explain the stability of the atom. According to classical physics, what happens? When a charged particle revolves around when a charged particle is revolving continuously in a orbit, it has to lose energy. When it loses energy, it may fall into the nucleus. If it loses energy, the positive charge attracts the negative charge. Finally, the atom collapses. But it is not happening. Atom is a stable thing. Atoms are stable. So Rutherford model failed to explain the stability of the atom. All these things we have learnt in the previous classes. Atom has subatomic particles, and also J.J. Thomson model, Rutherford planetary model also we have learnt in the previous classes. Now we are going to see some more interesting aspects regarding the structure of the atom. We have seen that every atom has electrons, protons and neutrons. Okay, but all the atoms are behaving in the same way. All the elements are behaving in the same way. All the atoms combine to give the molecules. Molecules combines to give the compounds. All the compounds are behaving in the same way. This marker is behaving in the same way. This board is behaving in the same way. No. Everything has its own behavior. Why is it happening? Similarly, the atoms of one element behaves in different way. The atoms of one element is differently behaving from the another element. Why it is happening? Okay, the atoms of one element are different from the atoms of another element. For example, if we take cupric chloride, CuCl2, it is mixed with the HCl and it is kept on the platinum loop like this. A platinum loop. Cupric chloride, CuCl2, sorry. For example, atoms of one element are different from the atoms of another element. How they are exhibiting those different properties, that we will learn in this class. Okay, if we take the CuCl2, cupric chloride, and mixed with the HCl, and it is taken on a platinum loop, on a wire, platinum loop. Cupric chloride is taken on the platinum wire and it is kept on the non-luminous flame. Means flame should have, it is not directly placed on the luminous flame. Luminous flame means here, see, here is the burner, it is having the flame, but here we have kept the mesh. A metallic mesh has kept on this burner. This flame will heat this metallic mesh. It becomes red hot. This red hot metallic mesh acts as non-luminous flame. It doesn't contain any flame. The flame is with only burner, but the metallic mesh acts as non-luminous flame. It is just red hot. We have kept the platinum loop with the mixture of cupric chloride and HCl on the red hot mesh. what happens? It burns and produce green light. It burns and produce green light. See, it burns and produce green light. If it, in the place of cupric chloride, strontium chloride is taken. In the place of cupric chloride, strontium chloride is taken. It will give crimson red color. Crimson red color. It also burns and gives crimson red color. All the elements are made up of atoms. Why do the cupric chloride is giving the green light, while strontium chloride is giving the crimson red color? This we have to understand. This different behavior of the atoms of different elements we have to learn in this class. To understand this behavior, first of all, we have to understand the electromagnetic wave. What is electromagnetic wave? Light is an example of electromagnetic wave. This cupric chloride produced a light, green light. It is an electromagnetic wave. Later strontium chloride produced crimson red flame. That is also electromagnetic wave. First of all, we will learn about the electromagnetic wave. Why do these different elements are producing different colored electromagnetic waves? We will see. What is an electromagnetic wave? Light is an example of electromagnetic wave. We are getting the light from the sun, natural light. We are getting the natural light from the sun. That is a wave. Light travels from sun to the earth in the form of a wave. That wave is called as electromagnetic wave. How does the wave created? For example, in the still pond, if we throw a stone, it will disturb the water. Is it right or not? It will disturb the water. That disturbance will be transferred to the surrounding water also. Okay, when it is thrown, what happens? The disturbance in still pond, a stone is thrown in the still pond, it creates disturbance, and finally the disturbance is propagated through the remaining surrounding water in the form of wave. We can observe the waves, water waves. A disturbance created by the stone created disturbance in the surrounding water, which is propagated in the form of a water wave. A disturbance created by the stone has disturbed the surrounding water. Thus that disturbance is propagated in the form of a wave. Wave has crest, a trough, a crest, a trough, a crest, a trough. Okay. Similarly, take this as example and understand the electromagnetic wave. Similarly, when a charged particle, for example, if we take the electron, a charged particle gets vibrated or gets disturbed. When it gets disturbed, when energy is supplied, when energy is absorbed by the charged particle. When energy is absorbed by the charged particle, it gets disturbed. It gets disturbed. We know that charged particle is surrounded by the electric field. Stone disturbs the surrounding water. Similarly, the charged particle creates disturbance in the surrounding electric field. Charged particle creates disturbance in the surrounding electric field, which disturbs the magnetic field. Disturbed water is propagating in the form of the wave. The disturbed magnetic and electric fields also propagates in the form of wave. The disturbed electric and magnetic fields also propagates in the form of wave. That wave is called as electromagnetic wave. That wave is called as electromagnetic wave. The disturbed electric and magnetic fields propagates in the form of a wave. That is called as electromagnetic wave. For example, light. Light is an electromagnetic wave. When the atoms in the sun, when they absorb the heat energy, the atoms in them There will be atoms also, no? Elements have atoms, no? The electrons present in that atoms, electrons are charged particles present in the atoms, get excited, gets vibrated. What happens? Vibrated. When the energy is absorbed by those charged particles present in the sun, they get vibrated. They creates vibration in the electric and magnetic field, which propagates in the form of light, that is electromagnetic wave, that reaches to the earth. Okay, so light is a electromagnetic wave. The disturbance created in the sun is propagated in the form of a light wave and reaches the earth. Okay, this is the electromagnetic wave. We have seen cupric chloride is heated, it produces a green color flame. Green color flame is also a light, na? It is a colored light, so it is also a electromagnetic wave. Now you can understand why cupric chloride produced the electromagnetic wave, green color. Because when we are heating the cupric chloride, the energy is absorbed by the electrons present in it. Is it right or not? When we are heating the cupric chloride, energy is absorbed by the electrons present in it. So they get excited, means vibrated, and they produce electromagnetic radiations in the form of which colored light? Green color light. Similarly, strontium chloride, when energy is absorbed, it gets excited. The electrons get in that strontium chloride gets excited, and the excited electrons creates disturbance in the electric and magnetic field. Finally, it is propagated in the form of crimson red color electromagnetic wave. That flame is an electromagnetic wave. The light we are seeing is an electromagnetic wave. Why cupric chloride is producing the green color electromagnetic wave, and why the strontium is producing red color electromagnetic wave? Because the electrons present in them absorbs the heat energy. We are heating them, no? They absorb the heat energy and they get disturbed, and finally disturbs the electric and magnetic field. Finally we get the color. Okay. To understand, in a normal way we can say, when energy is supplied, it gets excited, it moves to the higher energy level. Later we can know about the energy levels. Higher energy levels. It is not stable at the higher energy level. Again it will come to the normal state by releasing that energy. Whatever the energy is absorbed, we are giving the energy in the form of heat, na, to cupric chloride, it absorbs the energy. Later it gets excited, the electron in that gets excited, vibrated, but it is not stable in that vibrating state. It will emit the energy what is absorbed in the form of green colored light. It emits the energy absorbed in the form of green colored light and return back to its normal position. Okay, this is the reason for emitting of colored lights from the elements. Okay, so those colored lights are called as electromagnetic waves. Sun also produces electromagnetic waves. Similarly, different compounds produce different colored electromagnetic waves. Now we will see some features regarding the electromagnetic waves. Consider this as an electromagnetic wave. Okay, see what is an electromagnetic wave? The continuous propagation of electric field and magnetic field. The charged particle vibrates and leads to the change in the electric field and magnetic field surrounding it, which propagates in the form of a wave. If the electric field propagates like this, the change in magnetic field propagates like this. If we consider this as electric field, this as magnetic field, the change in electric field propagates like this, whereas the change in magnetic field propagates like this. Both are perpendicular to each other. If we take this pen as the propagation of wave, this is the direction of propagation. Wave is propagating like this. If electric wave is propagating like this, magnetic wave will propagate like this. It will propagate like this. If the electric wave is like this, magnetic wave will be like this. Both are perpendicular. See, both are perpendicular. Electric wave is like this, the magnetic wave. If the electric wave is like this, the magnetic wave will be like this. Both are perpendicular to each other. Here the electric wave, here the magnetic wave. In this plane magnetic field, in this plane electric field. Both are propagating perpendicular to each other and they are right angles to the propagation, direction of propagation. Electric field and magnetic field are propagating perpendicular to each other and they are right angles to the direction of propagation. If it is the direction of propagation of wave, they are right angle to the propagation of wave. Okay. There are some features of electromagnetic wave. There are many electromagnetic waves in this nature. Starting from gamma rays to radio waves, we are having many electromagnetic waves. X-rays, UV rays, IR rays, even visible rays, visible spectrum, we can see VIBGYOR, rainbow, 7 colors. Those are also electromagnetic waves. There are many electromagnetic waves. What are the main features of the electromagnetic waves? Electromagnetic waves possess wavelength. It is denoted by lambda. Electromagnetic waves possess wavelength. Wavelength means the distance between two successive crests. This upper portion is called as crest, lower portion is called as trough. The distance between two successive nearby crests or two successive troughs is called as wavelength. It is measured in nanometers, meters, angstroms, like that. This is wavelength. Frequency. Next, another feature is frequency. It is denoted by nu. If a particular point is taken, the number of waves passing through this particular point in a given unit of time is called as the frequency. Number of waves. One crest and one trough is considered as one wave. How many number of waves can travel through this point in given unit of time? Unit of time may be 1 second. In 1 second, how many waves can pass through this particular point is the frequency. It is denoted by, it can be measured in per second or second inverse hertz. Okay. See, if the waves are having bigger wavelength, more wavelength, the wavelength is larger, then the waves also larger. How many waves can pass through a particular point in a second? Very few waves can pass. If the waves are shorter, they have less wavelength. See, less wavelength. The distance between crest and trough is less. Small waves can go through this point in more number when compared to the waves having larger wavelength. The waves having shorter wavelength can go through a particular point in more number. More number of waves can pass through a particular point when the wavelength is short. If the wavelength is larger, what happens? Less number of waves will be passed through a particular point. Means if the wavelength increases, the number of waves passing through a particular point decreases. Means frequency decreases. If the wavelength increases, the frequency decreases. Is it okay? The relationship between wavelength and frequency is, wavelength is inversely proportional to the frequency. If the wavelength is increased, the number of waves passing through a particular point will be less. If the wavelength is shorter, the number of waves passing through the particular point will be more. For example, if we take a elastic band, if we hold it on two sides tightly and if we pull it in the middle, slightly, just to a little distance, and if you leave it, what happens? It creates waves. Slightly, just to a little distance, and if you leave it, what happens? It creates waves. We can see, means those waves are bigger, means those waves are having more wavelength, larger wavelength, because we have created lesser disturbance. We have pulled it to a small distance and we have left it. What happens? It creates a wave which we can see, means the wavelengths are bigger, so the waves are visible to us little bit. But if we pull this elastic band to some more distance tightly like this, and if we leave at once, what happens? It also produces wave, faster waves like this. Means here the wavelength is short, the disturbance is more. We have created more disturbance. The wavelength is short. The waves are sharper. The waves are sharper. We cannot see, it vibrates. We can just feel it's a vibration. Means the waves are having less wavelength. If the disturbance is more, the wavelength will be less. If the wavelength is less, those waves are very sharp. Those waves are very sharp wavelengths. If the wavelength is less, those waves are very sharp, means they have high frequency. If in a given point, through a given point, more number of waves will be passing in a particular time, means frequency will be more. If the disturbance is less, the waves have higher wavelength and they pass through particular point in less number, means frequency will be less. The disturbance, how do we disturb the electrons? By giving the energy. If we give more energy, more disturbance will be created in the electrons. If more disturbance is created, sharp electromagnetic waves will be emitted from the electrons. Understand properly. We have disturbed this elastic band. It produced normal, if we create the normal disturbance, it produced the waves which we can see, means wavelength is big if normal disturbance is created. If we created some more disturbance, what happens? It produces numerous amount of waves. See, numerous number of waves which are with short wavelength. Waves with short wavelength are sharper. See, the disturbance is more, the waves are sharper because they possess less wavelength and more frequency. If the disturbance is more, the waves are sharper. They possess more frequency, less wavelength. If disturbance is less, the waves are with more wavelength and less frequency. They are less sharper. So basing on the energy only disturbs the electron. Basing on the energy, the electromagnetic wave nature will be. Okay, if we provide more energy, the outcoming magnetic waves will be more sharper. For example, gamma rays are more sharper electromagnetic waves. They have less wavelength. Less wavelength means like this. More sharper electromagnetic waves. Those waves will be produced only by absorption of high amounts of energy. Those gamma rays will be produced with low wavelength and high frequency. High frequency, number of waves passing through particular point in 1 second is very more. Gamma rays are powerful radiations, whereas the radio waves are less powerful with more wavelength. Waves with more wavelength are less powerful. Waves with less wavelength are sharper. Okay, have you understood the relation between wavelength and the frequency? Is wavelength is inversely proportional to the frequency. Wavelength is inversely proportional to the frequency. Here, if we bring this frequency here, it will leads to the constant. C is equal to nu lambda. Here C is the constant. C is equal to nu lambda. C is the velocity of the light. 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. It is the velocity of the electromagnetic wave. It is the velocity of the light in the vacuum. 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. A light ray can travel 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second in the volume. So, this is the relation between the wavelength and the frequency of electromagnetic wave. Up to now, we have learned about the electromagnetic waves. Now, what is electromagnetic spectrum? I have told you, no, there are many electromagnetic waves. Each wave will have its own wavelength and its own frequency. The frequency of one wave is different from another wave. The wavelength of one wave is different from the another wave. The entire range of wavelengths of electromagnetic waves is put together called as electromagnetic spectrum. The entire range of wavelengths of electromagnetic waves, different electromagnetic waves, all the wavelengths of electromagnetic waves are put together, it is called as spectrum. The entire collection of wide range of wavelengths of electromagnetic waves is called as spectrum, electromagnetic spectrum. Here, considering the wavelengths, the wavelength is very short for gamma rays, later X-rays. Before this, there are cosmic rays also. Here the wavelength increases as we go on. X-rays. Next, UV rays. Next, this is the high. The cosmic rays have less wavelength than gamma, than X, than UV rays. Next, VIBGYOR. VIBGYOR possesses some more wavelength than these waves. Later, infrared. Next, microwaves. Next, radio waves. And some broadband waves also there. So, collection of different wavelengths. See here, the wavelength of cosmic rays, wavelength of gamma rays, wavelength of X-rays, UV rays, VIBGYOR, IR, micro radio waves. The entire range of wavelengths of different electromagnetic waves is called as electromagnetic spectrum. Here, the VIBGYOR, this range we can see the electromagnetic waves present in this range. VIBGYOR, violet to red. Violet has 400 nanometers. Wavelength of violet color is 400 nanometers, whereas the wavelength of red color is 700 nanometers. In the electromagnetic spectrum, we can see only this particular region: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange radiations. Remaining radiations we cannot see with our naked eye. Now we are saying no, every element will produce electromagnetic waves, means colors of their own characteristic, of their own character. So those radiations will come under this wavelength, any of the wavelength. This is the electromagnetic spectrum. See, cupric chloride, when it is heated, it produced the green color. So that green colored region may be here. It will give the spectrum of cupric chloride. See, for example, collection of wavelengths is called electromagnetic spectrum. If we pass the white light, see, normal light. Light is normal light. We get light from the sun. We can see it as a white light. When it is passed through the prism, what happens? It splits into 7 colors. We can see the 7 colors. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Violet, indigo, blue, green, orange, red. See, with our naked eye we can see only single light, but after passing through the prism we can see 7 colors. Means this white light radiation has wide range of wavelengths, different waves. This is one wave, this is one wave, this is one wave, this is one wave, and this is one wave. Okay, all these waves together are propagating in the form of a light, white light. They combine together to give white light, but when it is passed through the prism we can observe these radiations. Violet color is there, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, but it is visible to us as white light. Means this white light is combination of different wavelengths. Violet light has its own wavelength, indigo has its own wavelength, blue has its own wavelength. Similarly red, this is 700 nanometer, this is 400 nanometer. Means collection of wide range of wavelengths. Is it right or not? This VGR is the collection of wide range of wavelengths. So it is the spectrum of white light. This is the spectrum of white light. White light has collection of wavelengths. What are those wavelengths? Starting from 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. So it is the spectrum of this particular white light. Similarly, cupric chloride has given green color. When it is observed in spectroscope, in spectroscope we can see the wavelengths, different wavelengths present in one particular light. If it is observed under the spectroscope, what happens? This green color may contain different waves, similar, whereas the white light contained the different waves. Similarly, the green color may also contain the different waves of different wavelength, which is the spectrum of cupric chloride. Similarly, strontium produces red color. If this red color is observed under the spectroscope, it is also the combination of waves of different wavelengths. It is also the combination of waves of different wavelengths. See, this white light is the combination of different wavelengths. No? Similarly, the green light may also the combination of different wavelengths, waves of different wavelengths. Similarly, the red light. Similarly, the light produced by every element is the combination of waves of different wavelengths. Means it is the spectrum. Means every element produces its own spectrum. It may be in this region. Cupric chloride spectrum may be from green to yellow. Strontium chloride spectrum will be in the range of orange to red. We cannot say. Okay. Some other element spectrum may be in the range of violet to indigo. These spectrums of elements are similar to the fingerprints of the human beings. Every human being have their own fingerprints. Similarly, every element has its own spectrum. The spectrum of a particular element is different from the spectrum of another element. No two spectrums will match. They have their unique spectrum. By identify the spectrum, we can say the characteristics of the elements. We can identify the element. Okay. This is about the electromagnetic spectrum. The spectrum of one element is different from the spectrum of another element. Okay. Every element has its own unique spectrum. It may be in this region or this region. It may be here, it may be here. Okay. Any of the region. Okay. What is electromagnetic spectrum? The entire range of wavelengths. All the electromagnetic wavelengths are given here, are put together, is called as electromagnetic spectrum. When a light is observed under the spectroscope, we can see the lines of different wavelengths in that particular light. The combination of different wavelengths is called as spectrum of that particular element. Every element has its own spectrum. Okay, by identifying this spectrum, we can know the element. Okay, this is about the electromagnetic spectrum. The visible region present in the electromagnetic spectrum is VIBGYOR, starting from 400 nanometers to 700 nanometers. Only this region is visible to us. Okay. Next, this electromagnetic spectrum is continuous spectrum. What is this electromagnetic spectrum is continuous, means after violet there will be no gap, means we cannot distinguish the ending of the violet color and starting of the indigo color, and ending of the indigo color and starting of the blue color. They are continuous. So this electromagnetic spectrum is a continuous spectrum. If we heat a iron rod, what happens? First it turns into red color, means we are supplying the energy. It is taking the energy in the form of heat, and first the electron disturbs to give. If the energy is less, the wavelength will be more. If energy is less, disturbance will be less. So if elastic band is pulled with low energy, what happens? We can see the waves. Bigger waves, means with high wavelength, 700 nanometers. Later some more energy is supplied. We have to heat the iron rod for some more time. Later the color of the iron rod changes from red to orange, orange to yellow, green. Finally it becomes blue, and finally all the colors are visible in the iron rod in the form of white light. It becomes white, means the waves producing from the iron rod are very powerful with high frequency and less wavelength. So we are supplying the energy to the iron rod. It is emitting the energy in the form of colors. First it turns to red, next to orange, yellow, green. Later it becomes white. White means it contains all the colors. The energy is sufficient to produce all the colors. So basing on the energy, the emission is obtained. Okay. According to Max Planck's theory, the emission of energy or absorption of energy is not continuous. We are saying no, we are supplying the energy to the electrons. In that we are supplying the energy to the elements. The electrons absorb the energy and they get excited and they emit the energy. They absorb the energy and they get excited, they emit energy. The energy absorbed or emitted is not continuous, is in discrete form. Is it in discrete form? Means it is emitted or absorbed in the form of small packets. The energy is emitted or absorbed in the form of small packet. Each packet contains h nu amount, multiples of h nu. The energy absorbed or emitted is the multiples of h nu. Maybe 1 h nu, maybe 2 h nu, maybe 3 h nu, and so on. But not continuous. The energy is emitted or absorbed like packets. Some amount of energy, later some amount of energy, later some amount of energy. In the form of a multiples of h nu, means one packet, next 2 h nu energy, next 3 h nu energy. Not half 1 h nu, later 1.5 h nu, later 2.5 h nu. Not like that. It is multiples of h nu, whole number. 1 h nu, 2 h nu, 3 h nu. The energy emitted is continuous, not continuous, it is in the form of discretes. The energy is emitted in discrete form but not the continuous form. E is equal to h nu. Already learned, no? We have already learned, no? Energy is directly proportional to the frequency. If we give the more energy, the waves will be more sharper with more frequency, less wavelength. Similarly, if we give the less energy, the waves will be with less sharper with less frequency and more wavelength. So energy and frequency are directly proportional. Here h is the Planck's constant. H is the Planck's constant. Value is 6.625 into 10 to the power of minus 34 joule second. Okay. E is equal to h nu. This h nu will be multiples, in the multiples. 1 h nu, 2 h nu, 3 h nu. Okay. The energy emitted or absorbed is not continuous but it is in the discrete form. This is proposed by the Max Planck.